Hello and welcome to the commercial law update for the academic year 2022 to 23. If you are a law student who is considering doing a module on commercial law, or perhaps you've even already started a module on commercial law, then do feel free to check out the whole range of videos that are available on my Gumroad page and will be linked in the description to this video. However, for now we're going to go over some of the key updates from the previous year and things to look out for as we approach the next academic year. So let's get started. Data protection is often something that is its own module at a university, but it does have some commercial implications and can be included on that course as well. So just to let you know that there is some uncertainty at the moment, especially around the Data Protection and Digital Information Bill, which is one of the ways that the UK is planning on developing some of the data protection law that comes from the EU, and also creating a degree of separation between the EU's regime on data protection and the UK's own regime itself. Now, obviously, you may know that at the time of recording in September 2022, we have a new Prime Minister in the form of Liz Truss, and on the day that she actually took office, we were due to have a debate in the House of Commons on the Data Protection and Digital Information Bill. Now, Liz Truss has for the time being suspended that debate and it didn't actually go ahead at the time. So now that we're recording here in September 2022, we're sort of unclear on whether Liz Truss is going to move forward with this bill, or maybe we will see it revised in some forms. A lot of MPs have sort of discussed, and data protection experts have discussed, some of the provisions of the bill and some of the complexities involved, so it may be some time before we really get a resolution, and it's perfectly possible that we may not actually get a new Data Protection Act this year. A similar thing can be said with artificial intelligence. There's certainly government proposals on the horizon about the way that artificial intelligence should be regulated. A lot of debate around this issue, especially as it's sort of like new technology and it's unclear about what the legal protection should be. The government's own paper talks in particular about trying to promote innovation, so it doesn't want to hamper the use of artificial intelligence, but at the same time it's important that there are certain legal protections in place, and the government's proposals also talk about things like making sure that even when we're dealing with artificial intelligence, there is still a human at the end who takes legal responsibility for what the artificial intelligence does. Now, Brexit is obviously not as much of an issue at the moment as it was, say, last year or the year before, but there's a couple of important things that are on the horizon here as well. So, in fact, from June, we now have a new block exemption agreement between the UK and the EU. Block exemption is basically where we have mostly vertical relationships between suppliers and buyers, and those relationships could technically be seen as anti-competitive, but the block exemption grants an exemption, as the name suggests, from competition law in those circumstances. So that's something that the UK and the EU have worked well together on, and there is an agreement between the parties. On the other hand, as we see there, we've got the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill, and the whole issue around the Northern Ireland Protocol still threatens a degree of commercial stability between the UK and the EU. We've often seen sort of like supply chain issues, especially around Brexit, and those are going to continue, and the Northern Ireland Protocol is definitely something that Liz Truss has been aware of, and I think it's something that she wants to be quite aggressive on in terms of her negotiations with the EU, which might be good for party politics, but is probably not going to be that great for commerce. Beyond Brexit, we also have some case law as well, and similarly with Brexit, like we're now a little bit more removed from the sort of COVID era, if I can call it that, but it means that we're still probably going to be seeing a number of cases around COVID in this coming year. So we've got a case there from NKD Maritime, and that was sort of talking about like when force majeure can be used, so when something is sort of like an act of God or something along those lines. And I think a lot of it, from what we can tell from this case, is that the decisions are going to be based on how the contract is written and sort of how the courts are going to interpret it in certain circumstances. I don't think that there's going to be sort of like one big Supreme Court case that decides this is how COVID should be interpreted in a commercial context. It's going to be based on the agreements between parties and how they should be interpreted themselves. Meanwhile, we've got other cases such as Black Lion Law from 2022, and these basically say that the courts are continuing to apply a business sense to contract interpretation. So again, this sort of links back with the COVID stuff. When the courts are looking at these cases, and I talk about this more in the full course, the courts are going to look and try and interpret what is making the most commercial and business sense in the circumstances. And that is the commercial law update for 2022, looking ahead into 2023. I do hope you enjoyed it. There's probably not as much this year as there has been in previous years, and I think a large reason for that is because we are sort of, as I talked about in the video, moving away from things like COVID and Brexit, and as those things sort of settle down a great bit, it just means that we're seeing less legislation that's interfering with business, and we're sort of trying to see a return to normal, or at least a new normal, whatever that might look like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said at the start, remember, if you are looking to do commercial law module, looking to study it in further detail, then check out the link in the description to this video. I'll be back with more videos soon, but for now, bye!